Have you ever looked at your child in the middle of a full-blown tantrum and just thought, where in the world did you learn that from? We often write it off. We say, it's just a phase, or that's just their personality. But what if the answer isn't so simple? What if it's hiding in our own past, in a story we didn't even know we were telling? Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful story that shows how our own history can unconsciously shape how our kids behave.
So let's jump right in. Our story kicks off with these words from a mother named Pushpa. And that's a feeling I think so many parents can connect with, right? That feeling of being totally and completely overwhelmed by a child's strong will. This one frustrated sentence is really the start of a journey to uncover a much, much deeper truth.
Okay, so what does this stubbornness actually look like in a 4-year-old? To really get to the heart of the problem, a parenting guide first had to understand the specifics. What was actually happening that was causing all this stress? We have to see this whole thing through the mother's eyes first.
Now, listen to how she describes this. On one hand, you could hear the frustration. Her daughter literally forces her hand in the grocery store. But then listen to that last part. She is so smart, isn't it? You can almost hear a little smile there. There's this secret admiration, a little bit of hidden pride, and just how clever her daughter is.
And that brings up a really important question, doesn't it? Are we just looking at a really bright kid who's figured out the system to get what she wants? Or is this smartness actually a sign of something deeper? A more troubling pattern that's starting to form?
And yeah, it turns out this was about a lot more than just winning the war over a bag of chips. The behavior was getting worse. It started to spill over into her social life, and the consequences there were way more serious. She was misbehaving at birthday parties, snatching gifts she wanted from other kids, and then she was actually sent home from a party. This was no longer just a private family issue.
And this is where the whole story takes a fascinating turn. The parenting guide realized that to really understand the daughter's behavior, they had to stop focusing on the child and start looking at the parent. And that one little shift in focus changed everything.
And then, Pushpa says something that's a total game changer. This is the first big clue. She admits that her daughter's behavior feels familiar because it's exactly like her own childhood. She had to become stubborn as a defense mechanism because her siblings were always taking her stuff. All of a sudden, you can start to see a pattern emerging. So with that new piece of information, the guide asks a very direct, very pointed question. It's a question designed to connect Pushpa's past directly with her daughter's present. It's one of those moments where everything just hangs in the air, waiting for the answer.
And the answer? Well, it's a bombshell. Pushpa confesses that she was, unconsciously, recreating the exact conditions of her own childhood. She was making her daughter fight for things, waiting for a tantrum before she'd give in. And even more directly, sometimes she'd snatch snacks away from her. The cycle was repeating itself, and she didn't even see it.
So here's the thing. This isn't about genetics. It's not a coincidence. What we're seeing here is a powerful, unconscious cycle where the unresolved issues from one generation get directly passed down and acted out in the next.
Just look at how clearly this slide lays it out. It's striking, isn't it? It's a perfect mirror. On the left, you have the mother's past. Things were snatched from me, which forced the reaction, I became very stubborn. And now look at the right, the daughter's present, which the mother created. I snatched things from her, leading to the exact same outcome. She is very stubborn. This incredible realization leads Pushpa to this really powerful, really difficult conclusion. It's this moment of profound accountability, of understanding that her daughter's behavior wasn't random at all. It was learned. In a way, it was created.
But what was making her do this? It wasn't because she was a bad mom. Not at all. The real root cause was an echo from her own unhealed past. She was still operating from this deep-seated childhood fear that her things would always be taken from her. And she was projecting that fear onto her daughter, basically teaching her that you have to be stubborn to survive in the world. And she sums up this entire painful discovery with this one heartbreakingly honest statement. It's pretty much the fear of every parent, isn't it? Spoken right out loud, that our own unresolved issues, our faults, become our children's burden to carry. But here's the really hopeful part. Seeing the pattern is the first and most powerful step to changing it. So if that's the cycle, how in the world do you break it? This is where the story shifts from the problem to the solution, toward a new path of conscious parenting.
The guide offers this just beautiful way to reframe the whole challenge. Parenting isn't some static job where you're supposed to have all the answers. No, it's a dynamic process. It's a journey where you get to evolve right alongside your child. And that journey, well, it can be broken down into 3 clear steps. First up is realization. This is the hard part, right? It's being radically honest and acknowledging the pattern, just like Pushpa did. Second is self-change. This is where the real work starts, by looking inward, not to blame your past, but to understand it. That might mean journaling, or talking to someone you trust, or even getting therapy to heal those old wounds so they stop driving your actions today. And finally, number 3, evolve with your child. With that new awareness, you can consciously choose new ways to respond. Instead of reacting out of fear, you can act with presence, creating a whole new, healthier way for both of you to grow.
And this really is the ultimate takeaway. This story isn't about blame, it's about empowerment. Because just as our faults can be passed on, so can our strengths, our healing, our wisdom. Awareness gives you the power to choose. You get to decide which parts of your history end with you.
So that leaves us with one last really crucial question to think about. A question not just for Pushpa, but for all of us. When we look at our own lives, our own families, what history will you choose not to repeat?